Okay, so box jumps up, click the word got it, clear it out of your way. And I'm going to mute everybody. Okay. So again, sitting practice to start, sitting at the front edge of your chair, Zhong Zheng, central upright, central pillar. With that intact, then you practice the second part of that, Chun One, or softening and releasing as your means of finding stability rather than the normal response, which is to hold our bodies. We're grabbing our bodies and trying to hold them as opposed to releasing everything, letting there be a settling quality, that Chun One, a heaviness down. So that heaviness has to go through us. And eventually, according to the Tai Chi practices, I can verify this happens over time, is that heaviness, they say, top empty, bottom full. So there's an initial practice that feels like we're becoming, you could say, bottom heavy. So we're relaxing this tension that we usually have up here, and there's a settling quality. And we want to keep going with that to the point where eventually it's kind of like all that heaviness goes out of the body, yet we still feel grounded. So that's where this Qing Ling, or the nimbleness, this lightness, so there's like a return to a feeling of empty, but we have to go through the process, just like a glass of water filled with dirt, all stirred up. It takes a period of time for all that sediment to settle. And then it's all at the bottom and all that water is very clear. So that's a good visualization for us when we're practicing Tai Chi. And then all the movements that we do, the joint mobilization, including all the Tai Chi movement, that's to loosen up little places where there's sediment stuck and to promote fluidity and movement where we're becoming immobile. So we're already starting that just by sitting at the edge of the chair, finding Zhong Zheng, and then breathing in and breathing out, and considering this idea of let that settling process happen. Relax the shoulders, which very common to be holding them up unconsciously. We're just holding them up. And then they become so stuck there that we can't let them go. And so that's what our movement joint mobilization practices will help us do. But let's just take 10 breaths and do the best you can in terms of dropping what can be dropped, releasing what can be released without losing Zhong Zheng, or central upright. The breath helps. Every breath in, expanding us, stretching us open. Every breath out, releasing, relaxing, melting. In through the nose, out through the nose or the mouth. Five breaths or so. And Tony, just notice that your mouth is open. So when you're breathing, try to breathe through your nostrils. There's many reasons for that. One of which is when we're breathing through our mouth, we're only using certain musculature of our respiratory chassis. But when we're breathing through our nose, we're using the entire respiratory chassis, because the breath has to pull up the nostrils, back through the sinuses, and then down through the pathway there to get to the lungs. So it's more work, and that's why we tend to mouth breathe, because it's easier, but it is a self-fulfilling cycle that moves us in the wrong direction. So zipping the mouth closed, and going in the nostrils, feeling that chassis come online. And let's begin our joint mobilization movements. Slide the hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, chest up, chin up. Inhaling. And then with the exhale, slide the hands forward, past the knees, hollow the chest, drop the head, round the back. We'll just do that a couple of times. Inhale, sliding hands back, elbows back. Promoting movement through the movable parts. One of the number one causes of illness from the Chinese medicine perspective is stagnation. Stagnation. And so the opposite of that is fluidity, unimpeded flow. So just promote this flushing, this pumping, this full range of movement, of motion. And then let's settle to the neutral position. Slide left hand forward, right hand and elbow back, rotating. And switch, rotate. Switching again and rotate. So hopefully now these movements become familiar. That when they're familiar, you get to start to drop into this meditative state. You get to start to practice awareness of the qualities of soft, of smooth, of leisurely. One more each way. And then back to middle. Hang the arms loose. Side leaning. Left wrist floats up right in front of the chest here, elbow flared out, so there's just a space opening up. That's how this lifts. And then you're reaching with your right arm to try to touch the floor, not to actually touch it, but just as if. And then you switch. Reach the left arm long towards the floor as the right wrist floats up. Right foot can even lift off the floor a little. And we switch. Few more. And then back to neutral. Shoulder blade, range of motion. So the shoulders forward. When the shoulders come forward, it's because the shoulder blades on your back are spreading apart from each other. It's called protraction. Then lift, then retraction, slide down, neutral, protract, elevate, retract, depress, neutral. Continue that. Forward and up, back and down, forward and up, back and down. Reverse, back and up, over top, forward and down, under through neutral, back, up, over top, down. And again, as these movements become familiar, there's this transition from, I like to say, the square to the circle. So at first we're kind of going in a staccato way where we're going back and then up and then forward and down. But eventually you're just thinking of it more like a river, more like a wheel, just rolling, flowing. smooth. And then pause, bring your legs closer together, go right shoulder forward and up. Now, as the right shoulder goes back and down, left shoulder goes forward and up. Same idea here. Eventually, we want this just to feel like this rolling, almost like a sultry dance move, right? You want it to have that fluidity to it. Reverse, forward and down as the other goes back and up. Forward and down, the other goes back and up. Roll. And pause. Lean a little bit forward, bring your hands out in front of the knees. Stay far away from the body, then lean a little back, bring the hands in. Forward, close, open, around. Circle. Then forward, up, open, down. So feel the closing. Close, open, close, open. And then finally close and lift and keep lifting as you open. And then close, stay closed as you lift, keep lifting as you open. One more. Reverse. We come back, we start low, out but not up, around. Back along the legs, around. And notice there's a little bit of this rock, rock. Again, we're promoting fluid. This sort of one body, what they call the Hunyuan ET, the one connected body, but we want to be connected by liquid, fluid, and softness. Let's go lift and forward. So we're all in a state of oneness, but a lot of times it's via tension, rigidity, and then there's places of atrophy and numbness, and right, it's kind of not integrated. But so this process of emphasis on soft and long, let's go up and over. By being long and thorough but soft, what you encounter is your barnacle stiff spots, the places that are kind of more like plastic and they or frozen, and we're thawing it out so that the end result is a more fluid, more limber state of oneness that's lighter and more agile. And we relax. Bend the elbows, elbows out, up, and then down, around in front, squeeze. And down, out, and up. Down, around, and in. Touch the elbows together. Down, out, and up. Down, around, and in. Elbows back. Down, forward, up. Forward, down, back. Again, these Shen Fa or body mechanism techniques, right? This movement is forcing a mechanism to move through its range and therefore encounter the areas along that mechanism that are either asleep or stuck or whatever. But that's the idea of these different movement pathways that we need to travel. Elbows out, one above, one below, closing, wrapping, and hugging, and then elbows out, and then close, and then open, close, open, close, open, close, open, down, out in front, turn your palms down, up, down, up, down, up. One more. Open. Hands come in, elbows go out and around. So see that direction I sent my elbows, that creates this hollowing. So that's a mechanism that we should have operational in the body, but a lot of times it's stuck and frozen. So a lot of times when I teach this one and I do this, but people do this because they're just not aware of, oh, that space. So they call that folding and unfolding, closing and opening. So this is a fold. This is hollowing, and it opens the back really nicely, allowing for that nerve flow, chi flow. All right, now stay open, step wide apart, left hand up, all the way over, turning a little so that this mechanism, the qua, has to open a little bit, and then bring your left hand to touch your right hand. Then come up, still on the right side, all the way over the rainbow, down. Then your right hand comes up, reaching across, feel that right quad open, the body sort of side leaning and twisting a little, and then reverse and come back. So it's a complicated mechanism here that we're forcing, inducing is probably a better word than forcing, inducing the body to find by staying relaxed and being thorough. So saying, I'm not going to cut across, I'm going to go all the way at a comfortable size through the whole movement. One more. And both arms up, cross, turn the palms down, let the arms fall in front and separate. Notice that now you're folded, closed. Then cross, arms come up. This starts the unfolding process. And then this is that opening process. Up and over, cross, fold over, and fall through the middle and separate. Opening, unfolding, closing, fold. One more. Bring arms back, legs back, wrists, fold over top, circle under, point forward, turn palms up. And remember, add now this monkey paw quality, so when you come over, gather the fingers so that you can extend the fingers, and then turn and gather so you can extend. So you're getting the carpal bones and metacarpal bones in the wrist and hand, all the way to the phalanges or the finger bones. You're feeding that juice, that fluid. So Ilana, you're going like this. You're going like this. Do you notice that that's not what I'm doing? I'm going like this. Fold, circle, under, forward, turn, fold, under, right? It's very different than just kind of staying in this zone. So the range is important to explore, otherwise it just gets shuts down. Reverse, come under, all the way over top. So usually The enemy of the quality is the quantity, right? We're thinking I got to do more reps instead of every repetition being something you're present the whole way through, conscious of every little moment through the movement. Now, hands up, spread the fingers, gather the fingers, spread, gather, spread, gather. Now, spread, claw into a fist, open. Claw into a fist, open. Claw to fist. One more. Bird beak, thumb touch pinky, 3 fingers touch thumb and pinky, bend down, and then open. All fingers come to touch for the bird beak as you bend wrist down, up, down, up, and shake loose. Scoot a little bit back on your chair so you're comfortable and stable, and then load, push, load, down. Other leg, load, push, load, down, push, load, down, push. Again. Foot and ankle range, point and flex. Invert, evert, tilt, tilt. Circle, one direction. And reverse, other direction. Switch feet, point and flex. Invert, evert, the little tilt. Circle. And reverse the circle. And down. Scoot forward to that front edge once more. Step slightly wider in the feet. Lift the toes. Turn toes and knees in. Toes and knees out. Toes and knees in. So oneness through separation of the parts, as opposed to oneness between by way of gluing together. So that's what's kind of an odd idea at first. So again, it's a great example of the correct relationship between our upper body and the legs and the earth is one of separation, dynamic separation. So we gotta loosen those spaces up. And then hip hinge, fold, and rise. So that separation just opened up real estate that we can now move through easily, and more easily the more we practice this relationship with the body. One more. And here, slide your feet back a little. Arms are loose. From that space, okay, the quad, the groin, leg, hip relationship space. Fold, stay relaxed. Arms and shoulders in front of the ankles. And then you just push through the earth, rise nice and tall. And then hip hinge, sink, sit. Do it again. Folding, let the down quality happen. So a lot of times, that's what I see people resisting, is letting that which should go down, go down. And eventually that which should go down stays down so that we feel light, and what needs to be let go down is already down because I'm not holding it in the tension of the body. So that's this idea of Chunwan, which gives us Ching Ling, lightness, nimbleness, mobility. Now, a couple squats, Tai Chi squats, where you're just folding and soft. And again, I think a great visual for this is, I've mentioned before, like an accordion turned so that the bottom one end is on the floor and the top is going like so. And there's something very healing about that. And again, that's very different than me holding tension in my body and trying to squat versus being loose and letting all the parts kind of fold onto each other. Now, of course, it's not identical to an accordion, but feeling wise, it should feel that way. This sort of gather together and separate apart, because that's what the mechanisms are built to do. We're not built to just be straight like this all the time. We're built to round and hollow spaces and let these joints and tissues slide and glide with each other. And again, that promotes promotes the opposite of stagnation, this flushing and pumping. All right, now we are standing. Stay standing for a moment, and we go right into, from our middle pivot, left, right, yin, yang. So change the weight to your right leg, and then change the weight to your left leg. Change the weight to the right leg. Now reach the right hand like there's something on the floor you could touch as the left wrist floats up. And then switch. The weight goes down through that left leg, left hand reaching, right wrist floating. And then we switch again. So have a soft eye looking out for your middle. So as you do this movement, if you complete it to one side and then complete it to the other side, you've just induced your middle pivot to come alive. Now, the common thing that we do when we think about, oh, I have a middle pivot, is we try to find it and grab onto it and then control the body. But that's just not how the Taoist practices understand the ideal way of moving this body. So that's why we got to relax, loosen, move, and just have the idea, the soft idea that there's a middle pivot that is starting to come alive as you become thorough in your Shen Fa, your body mechanism work. Now, I'm going to turn a little bit at an angle so you can see left and right wheel. Now, this unique path, this is what usually gets people in trouble. Like Ilana just did it. She swung the arm this way. And notice that's not what I do. What do I do? Up through this unique path, then out. And the same thing on this side. Up, sort of like you're tickling your own back and then tickling your own armpit. So again, the only way to really do that comfortably is to be soft. To not have a bunch of tension out through the arms and hands, but just to be loose. And then also notice I'm walking in place here. So as right arm goes down, the weight goes in the right leg. And as left arm goes down, weight goes in the left leg. And remember, the enemy of quality is quantity. So more repetitions means you're probably going too fast and you're kind of not paying attention. So slow. And then reverse the wheel. So that gets a little tricky, but come back like you're going to tickle your armpit. Go down as the other arm swings out in front. As it comes back, the other arm swings out a little bit. Down, up. And we're just walking in place. Be loose as you can be. And have the idea that, oh yeah, there's a middle. So again, Ilana, watch my hand here coming back like I'm tickling the armpit. So this is different than this. And at first it's weird, but then eventually it becomes natural. Also notice it's out, back, down. Out, back, down. All right, now pause here with your right hand high. Flatten that hand and press. As this hand presses, this hand floats. And then this hand flattens as this one relaxes and press and ride. Press, ride. It's called left-right pressing palm. Again, Shen Fa, body mechanism technique. If we do it right, we do it with soft, relaxed, yet thorough attention, then it induces movement of internal mechanisms that usually have gone dormant. And both hands down. Wing, roll, fold over top, settle. Hands right in front of the belly, middle embrace. Hands cross a little and come down. Now bring your hands up in front of your chest above the diaphragms, the upper basin here. Now bring your hands in close. So this is closed. Feel very small, very closed here. Now open from here, here, everything as open as it can go. And then soft. Let there be like a liquid fluid return to this closed quality. Now, as you open, go into your right leg. This is my right leg. I'm going into my right leg. You go into your right leg, which means you should be going to your right as I go to my right. Open. And then close. Going to your left. So I'm going to turn around so that you can go with my body. Open. Right. Close. Open. Again, Shen Fa, body mechanisms. Open. Close. Open. Close. Open. Close. Couple more. Open. Go to your right. Close. Now bring the hands below the diaphragm but above the belly button. Open. Close. Inhaling as you open. Soft. Exhale. More. Drop hands right in front of groin area. Open. Close. Open. Close. Closing. Hollow. Open. loose. Last one. And shogun, or closing gesture here. Wing, roll forward, settle. Hands. So we've been learning the 13 energy practice. We're going to go over some of those. So hands come down. Now, a little bit, I'm going to turn it at an angle so you can see some of the different depth here. So rock forward, rock back. All right, so we have this little rock, rock, right? Which is very different than if I'm holding my body stiff and I just go like this. Right? That's very different than fluid, 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 fluid. Now, pung, rising, pung. Rock back and slide the hands back and let them settle just a little bit. Then rock forward. This is the forward direction, G. Turn your palms to face each other and they come down, under, behind a little bit. Now we're coming up underneath, just like we did earlier, and forward, backs of hands leading. Flat palms sweeping down and back. Then again, pung. Again, slide back and settle. And then it's on, down. And then it's the song, soft, sink. And then rise. Put that all together. Rock a little forward, swing a little forward. Rock a little back, swing back. Pung, rise. Rock back, slide back, and settle just a little. Forward, G, all the way to the end. Turn your palms to face. They fall down far side of a circle, under the circle, up the back side of a circle, under over the top of a circle, and loop. Back. Again, pung, rising. Slide back and settle, and then it's down through the middle. On. And then sung. Now remember when you sung, sit. Don't just fold. Sit the tush. And then rise. So that's this shen fa, the mechanism of the body. Let's do that. A couple more. Ra. Ra. Pung to G. So it's pung, we're rising. That's called issuing. We're issuing pung. Now we relax, slide back, and settle. That's called storing, so that we can then issue G forward. Now we release what we just did, come underneath. So that's kind of the letting go phase. Then we store by getting ourselves in a position that's ready to execute Lu, down and back. Then we pung, slide back and settle. This is storing to then go sinking, issuing that on, or sinking energy. And then sum, let everything out to the earth, come back up. Let's do that one more time. Rock a little forward, a little back. Pung to G, or rising. Slide back and settle to store up, and then forward direction, which is different than rising. And then we come release, up, under, over, so that we're stored up to do Lu, which is down and back, kind of a sliding, gliding, guiding back. And then pung to on, rising. slide back, settle, and sinking. And soft, relax. Now, weight goes into your right leg. Turn from your middle pivot and take your arms over to this side. Notice left foot is emptier. Switch. Change. So what we want to feel here is loaded up, spring loaded or stored, right? And then we're just changing to be stored on this side. And then change. So it's like a wind-up toy getting wound up, and you want to feel that sort of dynamic quality of being stored, and then relax it, and stored. Now, turn your left foot out just a couple degrees, right? So instead of pointing straight ahead, it's just turned out a little. Pump, rising, as you change the weight to that left leg and turn. And that becomes this, like a wave out in the middle of the ocean, just rolling across. Now release the hands, let them fall down. This is that letting go of what we just did. And then storing, issuing, pung, as you shift turn. So rolling, rolling, and it ends up here. Notice how my hands are up here, Tony? Yeah. And then let them fall down and under. Storing. So the storing is the leg and the middle pivot and the arms. And then issue. And then the releasing phase. Storing phase. Pump. Rising. So feel that through the whole body. And then releasing phase. Storing. Now, to issue Lu, we have to store differently. So swing under, up to this corner, turn your left palm up, right palm down. And now, Lu, so as you shift and turn from middle and leg, the hands are out in front of you, going on a downward diagonal to this corner. And then release, swing under and up. This is the stored position, left palm up, right palm down. And then issue Lu, down and across to this corner. And then the phase of letting go of everything, very important phase. Then the phase of getting ready to do something, storing, turn left palm up, right palm down. And then the issuing, the actual doing of the thing. In this case, this movement representing Lu. And then relaxing phase, storing, getting ready phase, and issuing phase. Now, change sides like we did at the beginning. So you shift to that left leg and store in this other stored position. Right foot turns to point a little bit out. Pung. So now we're issuing the pung up and over like a rolling wave. And then you're letting it go, letting the arms fall. That's the releasing phase. And then the storing phase. Issue. Release. Store. Issue. Pump. Rising. Flowing through. Finishing. Releasing. One more. All the way to the fingertips. Let it finish. All. Loose. Now, storing for Lu, we got to swing under, come up to this corner. Now we're in the stored position. Turn right palm up, left palm down. Issue. And it's out in front of the body. Lu. All the way down. Let it finish. And then release everything as you come under. Releasing phase. Storing phase, right palm facing up, left palm facing down, and then issuing. Releasing, or som. Storing, and issue. Release, store, issue. Change sides. Storing, pung, up and rolling, 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 rolling. Now here, a little more subtle. Release and get ready to store so that you do loop. Down and across. Release. Now change sides. Change. Storing for pung. Right foot points out a little bit. Pung. Rolling wave up and over and over and over and over. It finishes, there's a little release and then a preparation to have right palm up, left palm down, storing, and then issue. Loop. Change sides again. So that's the releasing phase, storing phase, issuing. The backs of hands leading. Backs of hands leading with relaxed wrists. See how relaxed my hands are? Yet they're leading. So I'm not stiff. And then it finishes through to the tips of the fingers, then turn left palm up, right palm down, issuing, cross, loop. Change. This is just dropping everything out, turning, storing. Now remember, backs of hands, kind of the lead dog here. Backs of hands. And it gets all the way to the end and to the tips of the fingers, and then the palms are the lead here. So right palm, left palm. And there's this emphasis kind of on the palms of the hands as you're guiding down, back. Change, drop everything out. Nothing extra is happening. Turning, turning, loading, 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 and then punging. Rising, rolling like a wave, rolling, 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 rolling. Turn left palm up. Now it's the palms leading. Down. Diagonal. Cross. Change sides one more time. Now, those are the first two energies. Now remember G. G was forward. So this is a different expression of the same movement. So as your hands come over to this side, now we store a little bit more specific. Bring your left hand on top and your right hand in front. So if I face forward, you see if I was holding a ball, if there was a ball I was resting my hand on, it'd be the top and this front side. And that's our new direction that we're going here. So we've got stored. Right foot is pointed a little bit out. G, forward. Exude all the way, all the way, all the way. And then just return. G. So, Alex, you notice your right hand is getting stuck and you're just doing this? See how both are moving? Yeah, both. Both. So it's like I'm moving a ball. Load. G. Back. So stored. Issue. Now release and float the hands up a little bit. Turn back a slight amount so that you're kind of facing forwardish, hands up right around the clavicle, collarbone. So now we're stored to issue on, sinking. At the bottom of your sink, sum, relax. Rise back up to the top to the stored position, and sum, sink. Sum, relax. Rise up. I don't know if I said it wrong, but on. So this is on, sinking. The heels of your hands are kind of the lead dog here with on. And then you drop that, you relax that. You rise up with nothing specific, and then it's on, the heels of the hands, the lead. Yeah. So one more. And also notice I'm not standing stiffly and just doing arms. It's a whole experience. The whole body feels this on. And the hands, of course, fully expressed. Now we put those two together. Turn a little bit and load your ball. G. Let it finish and then release, but it rises up when it releases. Coming back to the stored position here, and then on, sinking through the tissue, through the medium of your body. And then sum, relax. A little shift, turn, load the ball, and G. And then relax, it floats up a little. That's the releasing phase. This is the storing phase. This is the issuing phase, or the doing phase. We have the releasing phase, sum, the storing phase, the issue. So maybe you're catching the theme here, that these are three important events: releasing, storing, issuing. Releasing, storing, issuing. One more. Release, store, issue. Release. Change sides. So turn your right foot in a little. Change to this loaded position, but then get a little more specific with how you're loaded. Make your ball. So once again, that's top, front. So rather than top and bottom, top and front of a ball. So Alex, change your hand. So you were here, here. Back of hand facing, yeah, there, that. So instead of it going forward towards the screen, forward is that way for you. So now turn that left foot out and we go G. So make sure that left hand stays in front of the right fingertips. G. Back. So this relationship remains. Yeah. G. All the way to the end. Back. And there's a little bit of shift into this leg. Turn a little from the belly. G. And then a little shift back. And then a shift and turn. Shift, turn. So this stored issue. Now, at the end of this issue, relax, releasing phase. Bring the hands back and turn a little bit, point fingers right at each other, and you're close to your collarbone, close to your body. On, sinking. So that's the issuing. Release, sum. Come back up to the storing phase or storing position. And on, sink. Release, sum. And then rise up again, store. And sink or on. The energy or the expression of the chi in its on phase or its sinking phase. Just like the ocean goes through all these phases by its nature, that's what we're trying to cultivate here and allow for. Last one. On, sinking. So now, sum, releasing phase, store up for G. We're going to G that way, but first we have to store, make the ball, G, let it go, 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 and then it releases and floats up a little bit. And then storing phase, bring the hands close to the collarbone, fingers facing each other. On, sinking phase. Releasing phase, store up for G. Turn and make the ball. G, forward, forward, forward. And then the releasing phase is a sort of a float up. The storing phase is hands come here in front, because now we're putting these two together. So Tai Chi is all about combinations of movements rather than repeating. Release. So now we're doing basically like a two-piece combo, right? We're going G into on. And remember this idea of square versus circle. We're learning it kind of in a square way, but eventually these phases kind of blend into each other. And there's this beautiful flow. And what's even more awesome is that eventually it's the chi leading. So you can feel that the energy is enjoying that phase, but then it naturally goes through this phase and then naturally through that. And now, to finish, we put those four together. So we just finished here, sung. Now we're going to pung lu that way. So storing, pung, that first movement. Rise, rolling, 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 wave over. Then turn left palm up, right palm is still facing down. And then lu, the palms of the hands, kind of the lead in your mind. Change sides, so turn, make the ball. Turn right foot out a little, and G. Exuding, exuding, exuding all the way to the end, and release. It floats up and back. Stored for on, sinking. So pung lu ji on, pung lu ji on, sung. So now it's pung again. First we got to store and issue pung. Then we release, store, issue lu. Then change sides, release, store, make the ball, issue G, release, store for on, issue on, down, through. Release, let's do that again. Store for pung and issue pung. Release and store for lu, issue lu. Changing sides as you release. Store for G, issue G. Release, store for on, issue on. Sung, release, store for pung, issue pung. Release and store for lu, issue lu. Release, store for G, making the ball, issue G. Release, store for on, issue on. Sung. One more to each side. Pung lu, pung. Release, store, issue. Release, store for G, issue. Release, store, issue on, sung. Last one, store, release. I'm sorry, store, issue, release, and lu, releasing, storing for G, issuing, release, restore. And then parallel feet. Tip just a little bit into your heels, open, lift. Tip a little bit into your toes, sweeping around, closing in front. Tip a little bit to your heels, bring the hands as if bringing something in the mouth to the throat, down the central line of the body to your belly. And then here we kind of hollow the front, which buys us the real estate needed to accordion down. Push through the earth, stand back up. We do that again. A little bit to your heels, open and lift. A little bit to your toes, sweep around. A little bit to the heels, bringing in. Settle to the middle. Hollow. That buys the real estate for sink. Last one. And this is just that chi reset movement. Just bring us back to nothing in particular stuck anywhere, just everything as loose as it can be, flowing where it should, organized around this middle that we then close, wing, roll, fold. Settling, settling, settling. Here's the navel. Seal the practice. 1, 2, and just take 3, 4, 5 or so breaths. Just natural. Try to be in a state of almost napping, almost like you're sleeping. And feel how allowing yourself that quality is a chi technique. It brings your energy back from active duty and settles it to its nest. And ideally, we want to only let the chi out when it's truly needed. So we spend our time, it's like the money in our savings account or in our investments. If it's in here, the idea is it's actually creating dividends. So it's like dividend investing to keep your chi where in its home and to circulate it and work with it, but then bring it back. Alrighty, and closing hand mudra. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful start to your year. If there are any questions or comments or insights, please share. They're always so interesting when people choose to share. So I hope you do. All right, thank you.